I'm going to be teaching you how to work with the dictionary. Previous lecture, as another lecture on the dictionary, the problem is that I write code as we go along, and sometimes you get confused. To help you understand better, I've written all the code already, and now I'm going to explain to you how each line of code works to save data in a dictionary, delete data from a dictionary, update data from a dictionary, and see the data from the dictionary. So these are the 4 or 5 functions that I will be showing you. But first thing first, we need to start with simple importing JSON. Why? Because JSON is actually a format that is very much readable. For example, here, if I look at my student file.json, see here, it starts with like JSON format, which means it's a dictionary format, but it's very structured. You have ID, right? And with ID, you have the student name, student marks, student date of birth, and everything, right? And this is what I'm going to load. This file is already one student is there. So I'm going to import JSON. I'm going to create a dictionary which is empty. And I'm going to load a file from json.r read only. And I'm going to open this and I'm going to load this into student dictionary, which was open. So when I run this code, now there will be one record in this. Why? Because I already have one record in this file saved, right? And we'll add another record, okay? And then if I go further down, the loop is going to start, right? When the loop starts, it's going to give you a couple of options, right? The first line of code after loop start is a while true loop, which means an indefinite loop until you press break, until it reaches break. Now, 1 to add, 2 to see all record, 3 to delete, 4 to update, 5 to save all the record, and 6 to quit. This is what it's gonna ask you. If I run this, you see here, if I run this, this is what the message you get. Add 1 to enter, 1 to add a new record, 2 to see all record, 3 to delete, 4 to update, 5 to save, and 6 to quit, right? So it's already sort of loaded one file. So if I press here, let's say 2, right? It will show me what is there already. But before I go there, I press 1 to add a new record. But let's see what is there already before we do that. I press 2. It show me it has this record, ID this, Yusuf, and date of birth and all that. Now I'm going to press 1. If I enter 1 here, you see here I circled it. If I enter this 1, do you know what's going to happen? It's going to go directly to this here. It's going to go directly to this first option, because what I did in the code, when you take the input from user, I have if elif like this, right? So if user enter 1, this line of code will be executed, right? If user enter 2, this line of code will be executed. User enter 3, this line of code will be executed. User enter 4, this line of code will be executed. And user enter 5, this line of code will be executed. Now I'm going to explain you each line of code one by one to see what happens in each line of code. So obviously if you want to add a new record, right, you press 1, right? So what would happen in this case is very simple. Let me actually do this, hide this a little bit more. So if I do this here and user enter 1, right, like this. If user enter 1, you actually, the code comes here, enter student ID, followed by student name, then you gotta enter student date of birth, then you gotta enter course, then you gotta enter marks, and finally, it says student I. Student sub I mean the new ID that you get, right? You enter this ID, right? So previously, in the record, there's ID 1919, so you say 1918, this new ID would be your key. And then you say that key is equal to student name is what you entered as a name, student marks, what you entered as a marks, date of birth, what you entered as a date of birth, and course, what you entered as a course. So this way you add a new record. So seeing is believing, let's run it, right? And here we go. I say number 1, which is add a new record, right? Just let me close this. Yeah, I say 1. And it's going to ask, it comes the first line. Which line? It comes here. I entered 1, it comes here. It asks you the first line. And first line is enter ID. So I'm going to enter the ID here, and which is 1918, right? That becomes your key. Then enter the name, right? And I'm going to enter Talal. Okay. Then it says enter date of birth. Lal looks very young, so I'm gonna put here, date of birth as 2005, right? And course, of course, programming, computer programming for engineering. That's the course he's doing, right? Then marks, pretty regular guy, got A plus, right? And now I added the record. I want to see all the records. I press 2. Now I got 2 records. See here? I got Yusuf and I got Talal. Talal is a new record I entered. So what will happen when I press 2? What happened? Look at this. What happened? When I press 2, this is what happened when I press 2. It showed me all the record. How? It says for I in student. So student had multiple records, right? So I is the index, right? I is the index. What is index? If you go here, if you go into this file, if 1919 is index, against that index, we call it key, right? Against that key, you have this record, one record. And the second record is against 1918. So there are 2 records, 1911 and 1912. So when we say for I in student, actually it goes through this I is one. First time when the loop runs, I is 1919. Second time loop run 1918. So if I print ID and I say print I, see here I print I only. So this one is printing 19, ID is equal to 1919. Then I say print name, it's printed the name, and then I say student sub I sub name. Now that is a little tricky to understand. Student sub I sub name. Why I sub name? Because if you go at the file and you look at it, student sub I is gonna take you here. And within that ID, you have student sub name. So if I say student sub I sub name, it will print Yusuf. If I say student sub I, which is 1919, sub marks, it will print B plus. If I say student sub DOB, and it will print date of birth. So basically student sub I, sub DOB, student sub I, sub name, student sub I, sub course. Okay? So this is how it is. So that's why in the code, if you look at it, I have said print student sub I, sub name. It will print the name, student sub I, because you got to go through the key. You can't directly access that record because there is a key for the record here, you see. So, and then it goes on and on and on, and all the line is printed. This is number 2. So if I click here number, I want to click here save. I want to save it first, right? If I click here, save into the file number 5, you know what's going to happen? Yeah? What's going to happen? If I say number 5, it's going to save. Here you go. I did number 5, it saved another record into it now. There are 2 records in the file. So what happened on the 5? It goes to the 5 here. It goes to the option 5, open the existing file, dump the new dictionary and close it. That's it. And if I now open the dictionary, I'll see both records there. Yeah, see? 1919 is for Yusuf, right? And if I go further down, I'll have 1918. You see here? 19118 here at the end. Yeah, here. This is for Talal, right? Now there are 2 records. So if I say I want to see these records, first time I would be 1919, second time I would be 1918, right? By going through this number 2. You see here? This number 2 for I in student. First time I would be 1919, it print I. Second time it would be 1918. So you say 1919 name, that is Yusuf. 1918 name is Talal. So that's why you always have student I subname, not directly student subname, because you can't directly get there. You have to go through the key, right? I hope that is clear. Now, if I want to delete one record, well, normally if you want to delete, what do you do? First you ask, enter your ID you want to delete, right? And if the ID exists, it deletes. Otherwise, says the ID doesn't exist. So that's what we're doing number 3. Here, you see here number 3. It asks, enter your ID to delete. If the ID exists, It delete that ID. When it delete that ID, you see here say dull students are by. So if I say 1919, it will delete the entire record. Okay? What do I mean by that? Look at this. If I say delete, let's say 1918, this one, okay, it's going to delete the whole record. Okay? But if I say 1917, it doesn't exist, it will say, it will go to else part and say ID doesn't exist. So if I press 3 here, the first thing that's going to happen is, I press 3, enter 3, enter ID to delete. So this is coming from this line of code. Enter ID to delete. Now, if I say here 1, let's say I'm going to enter here 1917. Now, 197 does not exist, does it? There are only 2 IDs here, 1919 and 1918. I enter 197, it'll check here if this A means the ID, right? In student, it's not in the student, it goes to the other part, say doesn't exist. And you don't believe me, just watch it yourself. Here you go, see here, it say ID doesn't exist because it came here. But if I say 1918, I put the delete again, 3 to delete, and they ask me ID, I say 1918, 1918 is there, isn't it? Yeah, if you look at it, where is 1918? Oh, Talal. Yeah, that's the ID. Talal got 1 A plus, but okay, fine. Let's delete and give him more than A plus if we can. I enter, it's gonna delete Talal. Deleted Talal, right? Now I wanna save it. I press 5 to save it, and when I press 5, it saves the new file, and I open this file again. You see, there's no 1918. Oh, it's still there. Sorry. 5 is what? 5 is saved, isn't it? Did I say append? Huh? Oh, I said append. I shouldn't say append, all right? I should say W so that it updated. Here it should be W, right? Sorry, my bad. I should be W because append means keep adding to the end, right? So it did not really delete it there. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna run this again. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna with W. What would happen is with W. Oh, which column? What's that then? Did I mess up anything? Apparently not. 5 is save, 6 is break, and which one? Line 1, column 12. There's this error, I don't know why it's coming. I think I just need to quit this and run this again, Tony. Tony, okay, here we go. That was lab assignment number 4. Yeah, because I put the 2 values with the same key, so I'm gonna delete this. Yeah, okay, there was a problem that I put, you can't have 2 values with the same key, that's why I put W there, so it will replace this. So we see what is in the file. Right now in the file is only one record, right? And that is Yusuf, okay? And if I want to delete that one from the file, right, what I'll do is I'll first obviously press 3, okay, press 3 to delete, and then I say 1919, Yusuf is going to get deleted, there will be no record. Here we go. Now I save it, 5, I save it, and then I open it again, it'll be empty. Bingo. I thought it's going to be empty, which is not. 5 is a save. It's still append mod. I'm sorry, my bad. What I should do is I should do W mod here, not append. So I'm gonna I'm gonna do W mod because append actually appended. So I'm gonna stop this here and change this to W here, W, okay, W, so that it just does not append, it just delete it completely. Okay, here, oh damn, okay, I have to save this one. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, now I said 3, right? Delete what? 1919. Okay, now it's 1919 should be deleted. So if I close this and open this again, oh, I need to save it, right? Sorry, I need to save it. Save by 5, right? 5. Okay, and now if I do this again, you see it's empty. Bingo, finally. Yeah. So this is a bit of troubleshooting there. So this is how you actually save it with W, so you can replace the existing data. If you say A, it's gonna keep appending it. That's why you need to use W, because you load it in the beginning anyway. So this is, now we need to add one more record, right? And then we need to update that, right? So let's say I now try and add one more record because it's empty right now. Add and let's say we add here 1920, right? And the name is Al-Walid star. Yeah, you know what, right? And then 1909 2005. And of course he does EU 101 programming for engineering. And what I did is I mistakenly gave him D, right? Yeah, I gave him D, and then I save this record, right? I save this record by pressing 5, and when I open this JSON, right? When I open this JSON, you'll see Al-Walid there, but the problem is he's got D. Obviously, he, doesn't deserve D, right? He's been quite, taking a lot of caffeine to study very hard. So I am going to give him, update that to B+. Yeah. So I am going to actually update it. So update is 4, right? 4. Okay. So if I enter 4, it's going to go to the 4. Where is the 4? Oh, 4 is here, right? This is 4. It's going to go to the 4. And in the 4, what it's going to do, if you look at it, in the 4, I'm just going to show you only 4. In the 4, it's going to take the ID. It's going to say which ID you're going to do. If I say 1921, it's going to say it doesn't exist because 1921 does not exist in student. Right? And you need to, my battery is dying. Okay, still have 8 minutes. I can finish this off. You ask to enter the student ID first, right? And then ask to enter the marks, right? And if I say I want to update it, I'll say 4. The moment I say 4, you know what it's going to do? It's going to come here, OPT4. It's going to ask enter the ID you want to update the marks for. So I did that, and now if I enter 1921, it doesn't exist, does it, right? 1920 exists. So it will come here. ID doesn't exist because it will check if the ID exists or not. If 1921 in student, it's not there in the student, so it will come to the else part, and you say it doesn't exist. See, it said it doesn't exist, and that's because of this line here, right? Now I say I want to update again 4. The moment I say 4, it comes here, asks me to enter again. I say 1920, which is Al-Walid. So 1920 is in the student, right? So it will come here and ask me enter the marks, the new marks, right? So I will enter the marks and it'll say student sub 1920 sub marks equal to M. Because 1920 is in A, right? So student sub A. Why is student sub A equal to 0? I'll show you why. See here, for 1920 is the key. So you need to get to this one first. So when you say student sub A, it means student sub 1920 because value of A is, when you enter the value of A, it is 1920 because you're going to enter it, right? Here you entered it, here, right? And sub what? Student sub A sub marks. Where is the marks? Here. So it's D. So you're going to say equal to B plus, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to make it B plus. Why? Because we're going to get M, and in M we'll put B plus, right? New marks. So here, the moment I enter, it comes here, asks me to enter the new marks, this one. And here I say B plus, right? And when I enter B plus, what is it going to do? It's going to say student sub A, which is 1920, sub marks, which is further marks in the dictionary, equal to B plus. So this is what's going to happen. I enter. Now it has updated it. Now if I say C, the record, which is 2, if I say 2, I'll see the new marks here. See here? B plus. The problem is, it is in the memory. So I need to save it in the file. File, you open it, it will be still be D, right? Even if you close it and open it, it will be still D because it's not updated, right? So that's why I need to press here 5 to save it. The moment I do that, then I open it, and you see here, it's now B plus. Okay, so that's how you update it. And obviously, we done all of it, right? And also we did 5 to save it. It's simply open it, dump it, whatever is in the student in the memory, and close it, right? Finally, once we're done with all this, we press 6 and it quit, break the loop. So if I say 6 here, yeah, it's going to quit the program. As you see here, it quit the program. I hope now, as you see, this program I explained you from top to bottom and step by step, because this program is written. First is open the file, load whatever is the file, then it asks you enter the choice, and whatever choice you enter, if you say 1, it goes into this line of code. Happen 2, this, 3, this, 4, this, 5, this, and 6, this. So whatever you enter, only that if a ladder part happens, right? I hope you understood it, right? And I'm going to quit this here now, the video.